Have you ever noticed how approval in a group seems uneven, almost selective, even when no one admits it? No one declares that some voices matter more. No one announces a ranking. And yet certain people receive warmer reactions, quicker agreement, longer eye contact. The hidden game of approval rarely looks like competition. It looks like conversation. Approval works like silent currency, a nod, a laugh, a follow-up question, an invitation into the next discussion. These signals communicate alignment, and alignment translates into positional weight. Patterns form quickly. When someone's comment lands and the room expands toward them, bodies angle, attention sharpens, their weight increases. When another comment receives minimal acknowledgement and the conversation moves on, weight decreases. These shifts are small, but repetition builds structure. What you feel internally is comparison. You measure tone. You notice response speed. You track whose ideas are amplified and whose fade. Monitoring becomes part of your presence, and monitoring changes your signal. When you adjust mid-sentence to secure agreement, the shift is visible. When your tone lifts slightly at the end, when you insert qualifiers before being challenged, when you laugh early to smooth friction, the room registers elasticity. Even subtle shifts in pacing communicate that reception matters. Approval gravitates towards signals that appear internally anchored. The person who seems least concerned with validation often receives it more consistently, not because they demand it, but because they do not appear dependent on it. This dynamic is usually unconscious. Groups stabilize around perceived steadiness. The person who does not chase reaction communicates security. Security reduces uncertainty. Reduced uncertainty attracts attention. Notice how rhythm changes when someone speaks without micro-adjusting. Their sentences end cleanly. They allow silence. They do not scan faces for confirmation. The approval that follows feels organic because it does not feel extracted. When approval is visibly pursued, it disperses. The more someone regulates how they are received, the more dependency becomes visible. And visible dependency subtly lowers perceived weight. In competitive environments, approval feels scarce. Scarcity increases its value. Subtle alliances form around those who appear least reactive to it. Attention consolidates around stability. Watch what happens when internal comparison decreases, when delivery remains steady regardless of reaction, when posture does not narrow under minimal acknowledgement. Distribution recalibrates over time. Approval is rarely about content alone. It is about signal stability. Hierarchy is shaped not only by what is said, but by who appears least altered by reception. Once you see that approval is allocated through micro-reactions rather than granted equally, the pattern becomes clear. What once felt personal reveals its structure.